arrived. It's been a snowy week here throughout training in the run-up to the 4th Wiesmann Women's Skeleton World Cup of the season. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me is John Morgan. And John, after snow in training, the girls have got a fast, icy track on their hands for the race day.
Yeah, different conditions that they trained in all week long. It was blowing snow and wind for at least 4 of the training runs. Watch what happens here in the first run. Here's Katie Eulander, the United States. Also another athlete who comes out of the grooves. That's Great Britain sled. And then here's Noelle Picus Pace. So there was a lot of problems with the grooves at the top for some of the athletes. The other 3 athletes, though, had no problems at all. Here's Cassie Horowitz of the Canadian team, 3rd place here in the first run, and this is a rookie on tour. Very surprising run for her here. She has a rough time in the finish side. But Anja Huber, she came out, had a great start, and she broke the track record, which everybody then said, wow, we have a fast track here. She was one of the early descenders down the track, and she drew number 3. So Huber won on this track before. You expect this, no problem. And then next up, Shelley Rudman. She comes down with an average start time. Bottom part of the track, though, she was flying all the way down, superior speeds, and in the finish, not only does she take the lead, she sets the track record.
Well, John, this morning, the track record was 0.6 of a second slower than it currently is. There's your leaderboard. Shelley Rudman leads by ½ a second over Anja Huber. She's a full 1/3 ahead of Cassie Horesh. Now, there's a really tight battle, just 0.06 of a second covering the next 4 sleds. That could all change. But Horesh, she's won on this track before at the junior levels, so she does know how to get down here. Top 20 will go in reverse order of their standings. So Josje Leconte of the Netherlands, she makes the second heat. The 4 sliders didn't, though.
Including Katie Eulander.
Including Katie Eulander and Donna Crichton of Great Britain. The
2
other
formidable sliders not in the top 20.
Well, the air temperature -4, I tell you what, that's being generous. With the wind blowing up the valley here, I reckon it probably feels more like -8. But the ice, it's several degrees colder than it has been throughout training. There's no snow, and as a result, the track is lightning fast. The ice is very hard, very quick.
You can see up top, it's winter here in Winterberg.
It is winter in Winterberg. You know, this is a 4 seasons in 1 day track, but today it's cold and clear. Here's your start order then. And each of the athletes after Josje Leconte will have a slight advantage over those that have preceded them. And of course the idea is to try and climb further up the slippery slope. 11th starter there, Yelena Nikitina, her first ever World Cup start. She finished 10th place, the 20-year-old from Moscow, so she could be quite entertaining. And Cassie Horesh in 3rd, top Canadian slider, could be on for her first ever World Cup podium if she can hold it together.
Track workers sweeping.
Well, John, those start grooves, they were recutting just before the first heat. I'm sure they will have recut them because we saw several sleds getting binked sideways out of them.
Including both American sleds, and I'm sure the coach
Americans
talked about that. But here's our Dutch entrance. Josje Leconte. This is her home track.
Well, they call this the Dutch Alps. It's a big skiing area for the Netherlands. And the season opens this weekend. 5:54 getaway, started 5:64 in the first heat. There was a bit of a flurry of wind and snow as she was getting away. I said it might have taken a 10th out of a start. Looks like that was remarkably accurate for me, certainly. 5:54 getaway.
Yeah, 10 hundredths better. Usually everybody be within a couple hundredths of each other. That's the consistent element you need to be successful in this sliding sport of skeleton. Josje has showed improvements so far on the North American Tour. She was making the top 20 cuts, which she wasn't doing on a regular basis. She's the first one down in the second run. They've switched the track. It's hard to tell what kind of time this will be, but watch that speed in the bottom.
That's 77.2 miles an hour. Finish line is right there, 59.13. John, that's 55 hundredths quicker than her first slide. Now, some of that will have come from the fact that she wasn't being held back by the wind in the start, so she's got more speed at the top. But as you say, they've spritzed it, they've sprayed it with a fine mist of water. The ice is even faster now.
Yeah, but she's 54 hundredths. She's 10 hundredths better at the start, which means that's 30 hundredths at the bottom. So she was really 20 hundredths better than her first run. she'll be happy with that.
Yeah, she might well be.
We don't know. She's the rabbit. She's the first one down the track. So
she's the crash test dummy. Absolutely right.
If she's going 5400s and Shelley Rudman and the rest of those go 5400s, the record is going to be lowered by a second.
Yeah, they could end up winning the men's race with those speeds. Now this is 19-year-old Lelda Prietulina of Latvia. She was only 0.08 of a second ahead of Joska LeConte in the first heat. So there's a definite target for the Dutch girl to try and overhaul this young Latvian.
Yeah, there's a lot of hope for her. Of course, the men's Latvian program, the Dukars brothers, are the best in the world. Superman and his older brother Thomas. And the Latvians are holding out that she could take women's skeleton to another level in Latvia, which commands about a 50% market share of TV when this sport's on up there.
It's a tiny nation as well. I mean, it's a city the size of somewhere like Pittsburgh, pitching against the might of the USA, Canada, and Germany, who've won 7 of the last 10 World Cup races on this track.
Yeah, she's 600ths in the red. She's going to need to stop the bleeding to have a chance. If she gets it down to 2 or 3, no, she's lost more time. Not as good a speed. Now, LeConte, look at that, a little late there in 9. And Joska LeConte's in the leader's box, and she's got to be looking, she's going to move up at least 1. And she, remember, she was 5400ths better than her first run, so.
Joska could climb a long way up the order, 59.63. That's only 0.03 of a second slower on her run for Lelda than her previous run. So actually,
she's consistent.
Yeah, consistency is great, and Joska LeConte's consistency isn't so great. The good news is she had the better run second.
And she was 200 slower than her first run start time. Yeah. Again, LeConte, 1000ths better at the start, 1500ths better at the bottom. LeConte must have had a bad first run. That's what the stats are telling me now. And Martin, we are 2 guys that live off looking at these stats.
Yeah, late exit off corner 9. The pressure starts to push you back up. Look at the woodwork here, just above the top of the ice. That's as close as you want to get.
Watch those feet. Steering a little bit. That young 19-year-old, we're going to see a lot of her in the next 4
we are.
years.
She's just celebrating 2 years of being a nice slider. And Olga Potylitsina of Russia, 22 years old, another one of the younger sliders on tour. She's no longer the new girl in the Russian team. Last year was her World Cup debut season.
Yeah, she won the opening event.
Won her first ever World Cup race.
Eagles.
Doesn't have a big start, but 5.55. She started 5.60 in the first heat, so that's a little bit quicker.
That's better.
All helps. That could translate to 1500s faster on the way down the track.
She started late. She started in the 18th position. Now she's 21. If she pulls away to 40 and 50 here by the exit of 9, this means that she had a disadvantage going 18 in the first heat, which is according to her previous World Cup results.
Yeah, that just shows what sort of a season she's been having. She's not in the top 6, she's not in the top 10, she's 18th in the rankings.
You know, and the Russians, you know, it's time to start producing. They're 13, 14 months away from the Olympic Games in Sochi. And the Russians have put a little bit of money into the sliding sports program. All you have to do is look and see there's a Russian jacket about every 10 feet of the track.
Still 1800s up.
She lost a little time back from the top of the track.
She did not have a good
Willie
run.
Schneider, their coach, and here's Joska, lives in the leader's box for another run. Again, I see a German coach for the Russians. We have a lot of foreign coaches in that Russian program now.
Well, you know, like everybody else, when you're trying to develop the program, you buy in the knowledge, don't you? And that comes in the form of Willie Schneider. Olga Potylitsina of Russia then has the lead of the race.
Form, aerodynamic form. You're going uphill. That's an uphill section. Now watch over here. This is going to cause a few problems. The finish eye is right there. Right at that finish eye, there's a lot of people hitting, and you could see a sled tip over in that part of the track in the next 15 sleds coming up.
This is Switzerland's Marina Giardoni.
This is a good athlete here. Watch this girl run.
She started her ice sliding career as a great woman in the Swiss bobsledding program, and then decided she liked to be in control of her destiny and took up skeleton.
5:41.
That's a very fast start indeed. That's the second quickest we've seen.
900s better.
Yeah.
And she went in the 20th position. So it seems like that the people that went like 17 was Lacoste. They must have had some wind conditions or something, because they're all starting 5 or 10 hundredths better at the start.
She really ripped off a big start, and that gives you so much extra speed. It's like a drag race. The quicker you go off the line, the quicker you're going down the hill.
Yeah, and the problem here is she's losing time back. She's showing some inexperience.
Yeah, well, again, she doesn't maybe have quite the ability to find the speed, but out of corner 9, she's still in the lead of the race. Just 600ths of a second. She needs some good exits here. Keep that momentum alive. 400ths of a second. She might
going right to the 100th of a second here. Going to be close.
476 miles an hour. 500ths up.
So, you know, she's inexperienced. The Swiss hold a lot of hope for her to come out. And remember, the Swiss were dominant women's skeleton in the whole previous decade here. And
well, they had the one strong name, didn't they? Maya Pedersen, and for a decade she was one of the greatest sliders that the sport has ever known. But
Maya wasn't the athlete this girl
there was no succession either. No, you're absolutely right.
If she can capture Maya Pedersen's skills, she'll be a medalist in Sochi, because this is a good athlete right here.
Charlie Booker down there. See athletes for the photo. Great run through the Kreisel, keeps the line right through the middle of the white lines there. The exit, absolutely nailed that. Good run from her. Congratulations from Olga. She moves into the leader's box. Next up is Maria Mazilou of Romania.
This is a good result for her in the first run. She started 24th, last, and she turns around and finishes in the top 15.
Yeah,
she's young. She's, you know, these are...
First World Cup start of the season for Maria. Last year was her rookie season, so she's coming back to what she knows. 5:57, just a couple of hundreds away from her first start.
That's consistency.
Her teammate Delia Ivas didn't make the top 20. She was one of the 4 that are now on the sidelines. But this is the progress, John, that the young nations have got to make to get into the second heat, to start picking up those places, that extra experience. It's one more run.
Yeah. Look at this, +3. This young Romanian has got some promise.
Yes,
the Romanians do so much with so little, but then I jinxed her right there on the exit of Kreisel. Now she's got some struggles. It's down to 2. No speed, 93.4. She's going to have to really find a way to accelerate on the bottom part of the track where it's fast. You get up to -2.
Wow, somehow clinging on. That's good speed. That's about the same as Marina Giardoni. She pulls it out, 59.13. Found another few hundreds.
Look at the coach. I'll take that. The mistake she made out of Kreisel probably cost her 20 hundredths of a second. But I give her credit. I mean, you're talking to a program that works underfunded, and they get the most out of their dollars than anybody.
Do you know what? 2 really good runs from Maria Mazilou.
Might be one of her best finishes ever.
Yeah.
Look at the exit of the part of the track where you want to exit with a slingshot effect, and she hit the wall. Here in the finish, again, I told you, there's going to be somebody going to eventually go over right there, but they're at the finish line. They'll go through the finish line.
So she sneaks in front of Marina Giardoni of Switzerland. Maria Mazilou of Romania is your race leader. That's something I haven't said very often, and delighted to be able to do so. Next up is Kiwi Catherine Eustace. And again, although she is the oldest slider in the field, she is possessed of a very quick getaway. For a 37-year-old,
she's fit.
She can out-sprint almost everybody. Second quickest starter in the field in Heat 1.
Look at her eyes. Look at the eyes. They aren't looking 10 feet in advance. They're looking about 70 feet out in advance.
5:44 getaway, same as her first heat. 1400ths of a second the lead over Mazilou of Romania.
Sport comes at you pretty fast. Up here, this is an uphill section, this part of the track right here. Watch. You can't make any mistakes up here. It's flat. It's slow. Then all of a sudden it drops off right here. Then you start to whistle down here into the Kreisel. This is the pivotal part of the track here. You have to exit this curve like a slingshot. And this is where the speed just, you fall out of a building right here. Start to approach, there's about 60 miles an hour.
Well, with all the snow in training, the speeds are very different today. The athletes are finding the sled responding differently, and that's what really held her up in her first run. This is much better.
Not the speed, the 124 kilometer speed.
Could have done with more. The gap will come down, but she stays in the lead, 59.06.
77 miles an hour in the finish. Not the speed we saw from the Romanian sled, but she had enough from the previous run, and she was really smooth up top.
Catherine Eustace of New Zealand leads from Maria Mazalou of Romania and Marina Giardoni of Switzerland.
I'm really surprised how far they're going up on that outrun to stop. This is a long braking stretch. Look at the feet, different aerodynamic form. You could see she's a kilometer down to the rim. That Romanian athlete had some good speed.
She really did.
That's great for that country. Here's our Kiwi.
Physiotherapist, which is always good. Physician heal thyself when she picks up a tweak. Kathleen Lorenz of Germany now. 2 Germans next up. John Wynn, they were even near sniffing distance of the top 10. 2 of the 3 athletes from Germany are in the bottom of the top 15 here in Winterberg.
Kathleen Lorenz with the 20th best start time in the first run. Boy, she must be one of those athletes like her teammate who doesn't get a great start and just blows everybody. Marion Thies doesn't get a great start. She must be a good glider, but she needs a track that's 1,500 meters long. This is only 1,200 meters long. Real disadvantage if you don't have a good start time. And there she is, the 7th best start time of 7 sleds to come down.
That'll be
not what you want on a 1,200 meter track.
It'll be only the 20th, if that, of this run. So. And that means that Kathleen Lorenz is going to struggle. She's already a third of a second back on Catherine Eustace of New Zealand.
Well, the next clock, she could probably be 29 or 30. No, 41 she's lost, but she's got to stop the bleeding. I don't think she can overcome it now.
John, if you looked at her run with no times on it this morning in the first heat, you'd have thought that was a neat, tidy run. She was just slow. Look, there's nothing going on. She's not doing anything wrong. 34. The exits are good. The lines are great.
She might get it down in 1900s in the red, 2000s, but she's running out of track. She'll do better in La Plana next week, which is 1,400 meters.
124.9 top speed.
She's going to bring it back, but not enough. There's 1,500s. She went from 3,400s at Kreisel down to 15. She just ran out of track.
Yeah, absolutely right. 59.29 slide. Her first heat was 59.31. But Catherine Eustace, she went 0.3 of a second and change quicker. She went 300s quicker. She's not got speed. The sled setup is wrong somewhere.
Well, no, she got great speed at the bottom, 124.9. She had the best speed of anybody on the bottom part of the track. Look at the form, the head bouncing up and down. That's the G-forces. Good form, bullet form. That's why she was a kilometer better than a couple of the other sleds. Into the finish, look at her lean away from the wall. Into the finish eye, through and down. And next week she'll do better in La Plana. She's on her home track. Look how disappointed she is.
Yeah. 28 years old and same age as this girl, Marion Thies. She's from near the Oberhof track. Now, we don't slide there. She's our current World Cup leader.
Well, because she won in Whistler, difficult track.
We've had 3 different races, John, 3 different winners. And one of them's not even in the second heat here.
Yeah. Well,
listen to the noise.
This is another 4th or 5th best start time, 1,500s off.
Well, she started 584,
worst
579.
start of anybody. She's only 2,300s back. Now, I label some athletes speed merchants. She's probably the best glider on the planet in the sport of skeleton. If you want to watch how to drive a skeleton sled, this is the girl you want to watch. You don't want to watch her start the sled, but this female athlete from Germany has a way of flying down the track at speeds that no one else can attain. She's 2,600s now. She might have a chance to bring it back. We saw Kathleen Lorenz go from 34 to 15. She's only 2,600s now. Look at this, down to 7.
Wow.
Watch the speed. Now, 124.9 Lorenz had in the finish curve. She's probably going to be 125 and change. Look at the lines. Minus 11. Watch the speed. Look at here it is.
Yeah,
almost 126.
That's superb speed from Marion Thies of Germany. She comes from 3,400s back to take the lead by 0.3 from Catherine Eustace of New Zealand.
Wow, and again, it's a short 1,200 meter track. Yeah. Watch out for her in St. Moritz, which is 1,600 meters, where the start isn't crucial. Next week in La Plana, Altenburg, any track that's got some distance, she could be a threat. These short 1,200 meter little tracks in Winterberg and Eagles, she has problems overcoming the deficient start time.
Well, she should have been much higher up in the first heat. She's just gone 0.4 quicker.
Look at the form. Look at the head bouncing. That's a joke.
Yeah,
when you're that much quicker than everybody else in the sport,
speed.
dealing with hundreds of seconds, and she's that much quicker. Whoa.
Well, that means that the first heat was just a throwaway run, not what she should have been producing. She may well stay in the leader's box for some while, but I think any chance of a medal here is long gone. Lucy Chaffett of Australia now. Lucy, 28 years old, from Perth in Western Australia.
School teacher.
Yes, she is.
Good athlete.
Again, you've got to think somebody who's far too clever to be doing this for a living. But a very quick starter as well.
Yeah, this part of one of the Australians who, I don't think she had a good first heat. I think she was a little rough. And she's had some good results last year, medaled last year in the World Cup too.
Well, don't forget, you know, top 3 already so far this season in one of the heats, leading after the first heat.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, so she's really got the speed, but it's the experience, the
consistency. She's going to need it here. She's 4,100s up, and she might get to 45 or so, 33. Now watch this come back to Marion Thies. This is going to be close at the bottom.
It might be in single digits, her lead.
Now that mistake
little rough there.
If it's in the teens, she's going to have a problem. There it is.
Yeah.
The key is if she gets 125 kilometer speed, 124 high, she's got a chance in the bottom. If not, Marion Thies is going to reel her in.
Well, you know, you said for Marion Thies the finish line is too close. For her, it's too far away. 2 kilometers.
2.5 kilometers down to Marion Thies. 7th best time in a run, not good. You're right, Marion could there. There's Eric Benotis, the coach, former U.S. athlete. Not good for Lucy Schaefer, both runs.
Not as quick as her first heat either, by 1600, so not a good second run. Not what you want. You don't never want to go backwards.
Not happy.
No. Well, you know, this is an individual sport. Although your times are compared against everybody else, it's just the athlete versus the ice.
Look at the picture on the coming off the Kreisel. Little late there. Here's the shot. She goes down. Centrifugal force brings her back up. That's not the line you want. Look at Eric Benotis. He saw that. Oh, that's not what you want. You want to have a slingshot effect on the bottom part of that track coming out of Kreisel. She didn't do it. She almost pulled herself back.
Next up is Austria's Janine Flock. Janine, still just 23 years old. Started sliding when she was 13. And Martin Rettel, the coach, he's got plenty of experience to be able to pass on to it.
Look at her quickness. Oh, she overshot the landing.
Yikes.
See if that costs her.
5.50 looks about the same time as her first start, but
if that clock gets, if that doesn't go to 55 or 60, because she's way better started than Thies, that means that's really affected her. Watch it, right? 49, only 4 up. And she's got a half second in the bank over Marion Thies, but Marion Thies, of course, the bottom part of the track was, she was in another gear compared to everybody else. Down at 35, good form. You know, the Austrians have a lot of hope for this athlete. Again, she's only 23. We could see her right through Pyeongchang very easy. That's good speed, 94.3, but it's down to 19.
Might not be enough.
She doesn't get a high 124 kilometers down here. She's not going to have a chance. Down to 4. Speed, nowhere near the speed.
Marion Thies will lead.
Got somebody else.
Janine Flock goes into second place ahead of
second
Lucy
overall.
Chaffett.
Marion, look at
Marion Thies has put in a second run.
Rettel, her coach, just looks on. But I think the mistake she made at the start, she's only down 1,400s. She could have lost 4 or 500s at start time.
I reckon so.
And what she have for a start, 550. Watch this. This is not easy running across the ice at about 15 miles an hour. She gets on, and look at that. Overshot the landing zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
We aren't talking about paratroopers here, but...
good as. They don't have to land on sheet ice too often. So 10 sleds down, Marion Thies is rescuing her day after finishing just 13th in the first heat. She leads with 10 to go. How much further can the German girl climb up the order? Stay with us.
Ja, ja. Wenn man Glück haben, auf die nächsten. Ja, das ist notwendig. Wenn man Glück haben, macht beide. Zu viel. Schneller als drauf. Ja? Runter. Ja, das haben wir. Ja, das haben wir nicht gesehen. Ist das ein Ding? Lass mich beiden Namen. Macht Sinn. Den ersten Lauf, das 2 Minuten, zack, zack.
Welcome back to Winterberg in Germany. There you can see the final corner, and here the start area, as we're in the second run of the 4th Women's World Cup of the season. This is our rookie, 20-year-old Yelena Nikitina from Moscow. What a sensation this girl could produce. She had an electrifying start, 5.39 seconds in her first ever push, just 700ths off the all-time track start record. 5:32 the target, no, 47. That's a slower start. Now she's going to consolidate John Morgan on a great first heat.
Well, we talked about the Russians not bringing athletes out who don't have good start times. And all of a sudden they bring this athlete out. They marched her in yesterday for the headshot. And I'm looking at her and she looks, you know, she looks like a 20-year-old. And then we come out and see her push a 5:39, the best start of the competition. This is what you got to do if you're preparing for the Olympics. Athleticism at the top of the track will give you a downtime at the bottom that you can get on the podium with.
Well, the other thing is she's still got half a second over the experienced Marion Thies. Marion Thies has won on this track before, knows how to get down here. Her second run was a great one. Of course, this is the aggregate of 2 runs, so Nikitina's got time in hand.
Whoa, this is going to be close, though. No speed. I got to believe it's going to be red numbers. It's going to be close.
Finish. She goes behind.
Yeah.
Wow, that was so close.
Still, what a finish.
Yeah.
For this young Russian athlete. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
They've finally got a female skeleton athlete who could start. And in Sochi, that's going to be about a start track. And it's going to be an easy track to get down. It's going to be a hard track to get down fast. But they got a potential good athlete right here with this start time.
Well, her form is good as well. She's one, you know, there's all sorts of different body types work in skeleton for different reasons. She's very petite, but very explosive. She's a real live wire as well. Speaks about as much English as I speak Russian, and I can't even get served in a bar in Russia, so we're going to have to learn a bit more about her, but she's really written her name large. And Maria Orlova, who's the experienced girl in the Russian team, she was only 200ths quicker, and she's got more time, more hours on this track.
Look at the stride here. Look at the gait she's got. Well, this is an athlete here, too.
She's about 9 inches taller than her teammate, so 2 very different physiognomies. But look at her start, 5:40.
Yeah, in the first run, she was 5:45. And I think she wasn't real happy with seeing her teammate come out and spank her in the first run like that.
Wow, do you think that? Now, this is exactly what Russia needs. 2 athletes who spark off each other and increase each other's performances. Yeah,
and they got 2 men's athletes coming up a little bit later who have got great starts, and they have a chance to medal every year, every time because of their start time. But look at that late off the pivotal part of the track, the exit of Kreisel.
Don't forget, Marion Thies of Germany still leads.
Oh, this is a rough ride.
Yeah,
this is going to be
quarters of a second.
This is going to be tough for her to keep this going.
I don't think she's going to be
No, this is rough. This is how not to do it. She hit on the exit of the labyrinth into the finish. She might drop 5 places.
Horrible, horrible run.
The best start of the second run, the 11th best time of the second run. That's the worst run we've seen so far.
That's half a second worse than her first heat, just when she needed the consistency.
There's no let here. There's no throw and run away. You got to do both.
Even a 10th away from her first heat would have seen her in the lead. She drops down to 7th place, Maria Oliver, with 8 sleds left to go. That's a horrible result, and that means that our rookie Yelena Nikitina will have a top 10 finish on her first ever World Cup race. She's already Russia's #1 here. Wow.
That's right there. That's her teammate.
Yeah.
Watch the rough ride here. Watch the shoulders. Watch her try and steer off here. She knows she's coming over to the left-hand side of our screen here. Nothing she could do. She hits the take-on the way in. That pushes her down into the middle of the curve. Look at her feet out of position at the high-speed part of the track. That was worth 20 hundredths of a second.
Her body was at 45 degrees to the sled.
At 75 miles an hour, too.
Horrible ride. Now then, Melissa Hollingsworth of Canada. Canada's had lots of success on this track, but not with Melissa. She's yet to win here in Winterberg. Marion Thies, your race leader. Marion's not won a World Cup race here either.
Well, this is not... track doesn't have the personality for Marion's style. Melissa's done very well on this track here, though. She's medaled here before. She'll be doing commentary with you on the men's skeleton.
Well, indeed, looking forward to that. 5:59 getaway. She's got a half-second lead, and that will grow because her start was quicker than Thies. There you go. Climbing uphill out of corner 4.
I don't want to jinx her, but this is a female athlete here who can really know how to drive a skeleton sled. Watch for the exits of the curves. The entrance to the curve there is the take-on. Coming up on the outlet is the outlet of the curve here. Look it up.
Excellent.
Exit of the Kreisel, slingshot effect. 4,200s, 95 kilometer speed, which is as good as anybody.
And listen to what you can't hear. You can't hear the helmet dragging. You can't hear the toe steering.
Speed, 125, only the second athlete to break that.
She's got a third of a second in hand.
77.8 miles an hour.
58.94. Her first heat, 58.94. That's consistency.
When you've been doing it as long as she has, she knows how to be consistent in the sport.
And consistently quick as well. Has she been off the podium this season? She's not been out of the top 6 this season, that's for sure.
Well, that's how to do it. Come down the track, 2 consecutive heats, right to the 100th of a second. She'll go into the leader's box.
7 to go. And Melissa Hollingsworth, the leader, and perfect form.
And this is how to do it. You want a little training video? Look at the feet, look at the shoulders, look at the aerodynamic form. Speed into the Kreisels, 3rd best speed, but you know that's a textbook.
Yep.
Look, after Kreisel, she went from the 3rd best to the 2nd best speed on the exit of the Kreisel. That tells you she had the perfect line, and I keep talking about the slingshot effect on the bottom part of the track. That's where you got to hit it, and she did. And that's why she's walking to the leader's box.
And she can handle the speed as well down through the lower labyrinth, which isn't easy. Next up is Sarah Reed, one of our 3 different winners this season. Won the season opener in Lake Placid, her first ever World Cup podium as well.
Canadians all with this one-handed start. They invented the one-handed start. Jeff Payne came out with it about 10 years ago. Ooh, a little drift there.
Yeah, avoided the wall, no dramas. 5:42 getaway, a fraction quicker than her first, and that was the 3rd quickest in the heat so far. Great
good start. She won the opening World Cup in Lake Placid.
Well, she's a little bit like Anya Huber, you know, very petite, but she's a real pocket rocket.
The Canadians just keep rolling out good skeleton athletes. Of course, the men have won the Olympic gold medal in 2006 and 10. Yeah,
if they're you know, looking at Sochi as a three-peat, my goodness.
94, she's a half kilometer down to her teammate there, 94.5 to 95.1.
Still quarter-second clear. There was 1/100 of a second between.
She's got a lot of time here. Not the speed that Hollingsworth had, but she should win with 17 or 18 hundredths up.
That's a good second heat, 58.79.
There's where the Olympic gold medalist, Duff Gibson, from the 2006 Torino Games. Now the coach of the Canadian program, Sarah Reed. She stopped the sled earlier than everybody else.
Yeah. 100th of a second between her and Melissa Hollingsworth in the first heat, 1600ths in total. So it's a much neater second heat from Sarah Reed.
Look at the athletic, look at the turnover. Now watch, she's got to jump on there. It's not easy to do this. Hands cross over, on. The grooves come to an end. You got to be settled. Look at the eyes. She's looking for the take on of the first curve here. Boy, it's
a really good run down to turn one. There she is. She takes the lead with 6 to go. And this is where we get into a very, very close battle. She and Melissa were just 100th apart, but they were a 10th behind the battle for the podium. And this is where we get into it. We've got 4 girls now covered by 3 100ths of a second.
Another diminutive athlete here, Michelle Steele. She might be the smallest athlete. Look, two-handed start. The last, I think the only person who does it. This is the old way to start the skeleton start.
Well, occasionally you see sliders revert to it if 2 or 3 people in front of them have popped out of the grooves.
Good point, Martin. Good point.
Anya Huber's done that before, and it's just a safety thing because it spreads the weight more evenly.
She's got a lot of steering. Look at the way the feet were out. Yeah. She was trying out the top of the track. You've got to be quiet, especially this part of the track where you go uphill right here.
Another rocking start, 5:45.
Good athlete, diminutive in size. The Australians have figured out that, you know, if there's a sport we can be successful at in the winter, it's skeleton. And women's skeleton, the Australians have done very well.
Pulling away from Sarah Reed. Well, it was Lucy Chapper, her teammate, who led. Was it Lake Placid after the first heat? It was, I think, the first race of the season. This is Michelle Steele's turn to shine.
A little late there, 9. Heads up here on 10. Labyrinths
building her lead. 1500s, a 10th now of a second. 1:24.3.
This is going to be real close.
Very close. Down to the 100, perhaps 800ths of a second.
So she had a good bottom part of the track. Great result.
Yeah. Top 6 finish guaranteed.
Michelle Steele.
But she was only 200ths behind Noelle Piker's pace and Lizzie Yarnold, who are tied for 4th place. And they're only a few hundreds off the podium. So this is the bronze medal battle. And at the moment, that's her throwdown to claim her first World Cup medal.
Form, look at the feet bouncing. Her head's up there, so she was steering to get off. Got off that curve late. First part of the labyrinth. Second labyrinth. Here comes the third labyrinth. 3-quarter combination labyrinth. Every track's got to have one. Bottom part of this track, it's real quick for bobsleds.
A lot of fans with cameras down at the bottom. And there is your race leader, Michelle Steele. Originally from Queensland, now lives in San Jose. And on the road here in Europe for the first time in 3 seasons, Noelle Piker's pace, retired from the sport and was persuaded to try it again, walked away a year ago, and then was persuaded to try another time and blew away all of her compatriots in the US trials.
Real problems here in the first heat. Yep. Oh, she overshoots her start there again, but she's a lot more in control.
Yeah.
5:61, very similar to her first heat, but I don't think her first heat, I think she had some real problems right before curve 1 that really cost her.
Yeah.
She's a glider. She's like Marion T. She's
old school.
Yeah,
absolutely. You
stand her next to Michelle Steele, you have 2 really different female athletes in the sport of skeleton. One's about 5'9", 5'10", the other's about 5'2". Big weight difference, but she's 2100ths down. Next clock.
The gap is coming down now. It grew from the start. Now it could be down into the mid-teens.
Next speed on the left, 95.9.
Wow. Look at this.
Down to 11. Now
Here we go.
She's a speed merchant like Marion Teese. Look at her form.
2007 world champion. 2005 she was the World Cup champion.
126.2. The first athlete at 78.5 miles an hour. And she rockets to the bottom. Tuffy Latour, the coach, knows that's what he expects out of this athlete. And this is a 1,200-meter track. She is really good on the longer tracks.
She broke the existing track record. 58.59, that's what Anya Huber did to break the track record in the first heat. That's how quick that is.
She tied the record then.
Well, no, because the record got broken by Huber and then by Shelley Rudman. But the record as it stood this morning, she's inside that comfortably.
Start here. Watch the hands cross over. Watch your right side of your screen. Watch the way the feet come over and touch the other side of the ice here. Look at 1 foot. Watch this. See that foot come down? She overshot.
Now, she may have started in the other groove because in the first heat, she skated left into the wall as she saw it.
Speed merchant there.
Yeah, wow. Noelle has lost nothing, and that really throws down the gauntlet to the remaining girls. She was tied with this girl, Lizzie Arnold, our junior world champion, just 23 years old. And Lizzie, there is your leader, Noelle Piker's Pace. Yes, she could claim a medal here. So could Lizzie Arnold. But this is still the battle to get into the top three.
Lizzie Arnold's a very typical, or very similar to Noelle Piker's Pace in physical appearance. She's a glider. She's won before. She won a couple events last year in the World Cup circuit. Look at her form. She's got a huge lead here. Because sure, she's got a much better start than Piker's Pace. But she, she's a glider, and she's young.
This is looking a little better than her first heat as well. First heat, I thought, just didn't look quite as on top of it as she would want to. Exit of the Kreisel, a little late with the pressure. Now she's got to really get it together in the labyrinth if she wants to challenge for a medal.
No speed, she's 2 kilometers down to Piker's Pace.
She's going to go behind. Noelle Piker's Pace will lead.
Speed of the left, 124 and change. She's in trouble. Yeah, she's in trouble now. So Noelle Piker's Pace is going to move up at least one more spot. Lizzie Arnold
drops down to 3rd place, 2nd place, 3rd place, 58.81. 3rd fastest run, and that drops her down behind Noelle Piker's Pace with 3 to go. So Lizzie Arnold in 2nd, Michelle Steele of Australia in 3rd, Sarah Reid in 4th position. Well, there is Lizzie Arnold looking as relatively cheerful as ever. And through the Kreisel, just a little high on the line in the middle there, perhaps. And the speed already by that stage.
Way off the pace. Look at
not great.
Piker's Pace with that no start time. Well, she's a speed merchant, but Lizzie Arnold will be a speed merchant eventually.
Oh, she already is. She's been to the Adidas locker as well. 3 to go. Now then, Cassie Horesh. She's won on this track before, not in the Intercontinental Cup, the 2nd tier of sliding that she was doing the last couple of years, but in Europa Cup for the junior sliders. She won here 2 or 3 seasons ago. She's 28 years old, a World Cup rookie. She lies 3rd.
Look at the sprint technique off the start blocks. A lot of athleticism in the sport of skeleton at the first 50 meters. And then there's a lot of extreme sport instinct the rest of the way down.
5:59 getaway, not going to worry the fastest starters, but
slower than her first.
Last year's America's Cup champion, she was never off the podium in 8 races. And the same season last year, she slid here in Europa Cup and won in Winterberg, one of the 4 races she did in Europe.
Speed, she's already lost it back. Does not have the speed into Kreisel, nowhere near Piker's Pace speed. Ooh, exit of the slingshot effect part of the track, and she missed it. She's 2 kilometers down, so I think Noelle Piker's Pace is going to win a medal here on the bottom part of the track.
I think you're absolutely right.
Wow.
Piker's Pace back to her imperious best, and Cassie Horesh is slipping down to 4th place, 5th place,
77 miles an hour.
Oh, it is 5th place. And there is Noelle.
One of her 2 children.
Yeah, her kids are on tour with her and her husband.
She medals. Cassie falls back 4 spots. I think the exit of Kreisel, we saw her come out a little late. That's, I keep saying that pivotal part of the track, but you have to nail it there, and Piker's Pace did.
59.01 slide for Cassie Horesh. Not as tidy as her first heat, but that's going to give her a top 7 finish here in Winterberg.
Look at the form. Look at her come down now. She's way below the lines. Now she's got to come back up. Look how high she gets here in the exit of this, the Kreisel, which I call slingshot effect. Look at it. See, she's a little rough, a little late there. That's when she went down and she went back up. Piker's Pace celebrates her first medal since 2009, probably.
I guess. And she may move higher, who knows. This is our 2008 world champion, Anja Huber. Broke the track record with her first run. And at that stage, I thought, wow, she's going to take some catching. She wasn't just caught, she was left trailing by Shelley Rudman. Final 2 sleds here in this Women's World Cup racing Winterberg. great start in the first heat. 5:45 was the third quickest we'd seen. We've seen a 39 now, all skids.
A lot of steering there. 5:44 start.
Got bumped sideways out of that groove.
61.3 is a good speed. 38 miles an hour up at the, before that curve 2. Out of Omega, this is where the track goes uphill. They say you have to be very quiet. No friction, no steering left to right. Just let the sled fly. And then you get into this little thing they call the kreisel. Look at her feet. Look at her bullet form. She's going to go back up in the alley. Can she get a slingshot effect here? Not bad.
Well, she's gone from 4600ths up to 38, down to 27.
Yeah, not the speed that Pika's Pace had. She's a kilometer down.
Slow.
She's got a lot of scratch in there. Oh, her head was way up there in the first part of the lap. That ain't. If she doesn't have 120, yeah, she's got 125.
May not be enough. She'll be close. Will she lead? Yes, she does. 58.70.
So Anya Huber holds on to the bottom part of the track. She'll celebrate a silver medal.
Yep, at least a silver medal. But that run is not enough to really challenge for a gold. It's up to Shelley Rudman now to seize this victory and become our 4th different winner of the season. No matter who wins now, we're going to have our 4th different winner of the season.
Well, she broke the track record in the first run, had a great second run.
Yeah.
Look at the form, into the finish. Look at
the helmet turned sideways.
Down. She's got her head down there. 4th best
so
speed.
she doesn't scrape her chin along the
But she's looking for the aerodynamics.
Yeah.
She starts to go uphill here. Look at this. See her exit going uphill.
Yeah.
Must be her mom.
Well, from Berchtesgaden in Bavaria, Bischofswiesen, in fact, just outside it. We'll be at Koenigsee later in the season. Now then, what about Shelley Rudman? Won the European Championship title on this track last year. So she is our defending champion here, and what a defense. She started with a first run 58.06.
What she did in the first run, they should arrest her at the bottom.
Yeah.
She was so much faster than everybody else. Smashed the track record. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody on a short 1,200-meter track with an efficient start time smash the track record like she did.
She took half a second out of it. That's insanity.
This track's been around. I slid in this track in the mid-'70s, and she just lowered the track record by half a second. And all week long, she was competing in snow.
Yep.
And they come out, and all of a sudden, they put this... The conditions were absolutely perfect for this, but
6400ths up now on Anya Huber. She was only 4600ths up at the start, and this was the key to where she built it all. The run through the kreisel and down through the lower labyrinth.
Look at the speed.
And again, she's doing it again. She is just driving away from them. 60 miles an hour there. She'll be over 70 through the finish curve.
They should arrest her at the bottom for speeding.
9/10 of a second. Is this Martin's Ducours in Shelley's helmet? Victory for Shelley Rudman. 58.24 slide. Doesn't beat the track record for a second time, but she absolutely blew it out of the water. What a morning for Shelley Rudman of Great Britain. Our 4th different race winner of the season. It's her first victory of 2012-13 season, and her 2nd straight here in Winterberg. I thought it was only Eagles that she won consecutive races at. Apparently that is not the case. Well, the Bromley Tech sled absolutely flying, but it was Shelley Rudman today that made the difference. My goodness, what on earth was she doing that nobody else could manage?
Hello, everybody back home. Hello, Mum and Dad. And Ella, I hope you have a great nativity play today. I'm back.
Yes, you are, Shell. Yes, you are. Oh, and our cameraman takes a spill. A busy, very small area down at the finish. But look at this, Shelley Rudman. Well, she had a half-second lead from the first heat, and you could think maybe she just took it easy. Not a bit of it. Her 2nd slide, comfortably quicker than anybody else by, again, half a second. And Richard Bromley, who with Kristen, his brother, is responsible for engineering these sleds, and Richard does the construction. Yeah, that's a big win for them. 99 hundredths of a second. No, that's just an insane margin of
Where's
victory.
the audio guy?
You can hear John Morgan down there at the bottom. We will catch up. There's Lizzie Arnold and family. So Kent is empty then. See her sister there, her mum and dad, as they celebrate Lizzie finishing in 4th position here. Top 6 finish for her. And it's our 4th different winner of the season then. Shelley Rudman just obliterates her rivals here in Winterberg. She is the queen of women's skeleton here. Stay with us, we'll be back for more right after this.
The 6th position and the 7th position in the final round. Judgment is with Canadian Cassie Murray. 8th position for Melissa Hollingsworth from Canada. Die Canadierin Melissa Hollingsworth met 8e. En op plaats 9 vinden zich Marion Dees aus dem deutschen Team. Sie, also die 9. Platzierte, die Weltcup-Führende, die mit diesem 9. Rang, wenn ich das richtig sehe, 152 Punkte gewinnt und auf 761 Punkte insgesamt kommt. Von meiner Rechnung inoffiziell mit 19 Punkten Vorsprung vor Sarah Reed. Auch die Führung ebenfalls dann.
Second on the right and 3rd on the left. No, like that. You're in the middle. You should be arrested.
Also so sieht die sehr inoffizielle Weltcup-Wertung aus. An erster Position bleibt Marion Dees mit 761 Punkten vor, Elizabeth Jano mit 754 Punkte und dann Sarah Reed aus Kanada 702.
Yes, Martin, okay, good.
Offizielle Resultate warten wir noch und das präsentiert sich dann natürlich so alt ist hier bei uns auch.
Welcome back to Winterberg in Germany. Marion Thies, our World Cup points leader, finishing here in 9th position. Lizzie Arnold moves up to 2nd, Sarah Reed in 3rd, and Shelley Rudman moves up to 5th position. She becomes our 4th different race winner in 4 starts this season. The woman who last won here in 2011 to claim the European Championship does it again in 2012. Well, it's an interesting looking World Cup rankings. Donna Crichton, who didn't make the second heat, slipping outside the top 10 for the first time this season. But Shelley Rudman, she was in great form here. 2011, the end of the 2010-11 season, she won the European Championship here. Last year's race winner on this track was Amy Goff of Canada. Shelley Rudman, though, blew the start record apart, the track record apart with her first run, and added another half second to her total to win by just 100th under a second in total. A fantastic run from Shelley and the Bromley Tech sled. There's Anya Huber in 2nd place. Noel Piker's pace returning to the podium. She took the bronze medal. Lizzie Arnold 4th from Michelle Steele of Australia. And Sarah Reed of Canada ahead of Cassie Haresh, who was in the bronze medal position after the first heat. Well, let's get down to hear from our top 3 there with John Morgan.
And here we are with our flowers ceremony. Wilfred Idema, the vice president from the FIBT, with the flowers, which is more important. And but here in Winterberg, what the athletes really look forward to is not only the flowers, but they bring in these big, beautiful glasses of Velton's beer. This is the big tradition here in Winterberg, and Velton's the local Brewery, been sponsoring the sliding sports here for many years. Let's go to Noelle, your first medal since 2009?
Yes.
But on a short 1,200-meter track. I don't know if you've ever done this well on this track, have you?
I've won here, actually. It was my first win ever. But yeah, I've always loved this track. My first run, I popped the groove, so I'm just thrilled to be back in the medals, and it's just exciting. So it's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's a great run. And hey, you broke the track record on you in the first run. You've had 2 good runs. You have to be happy today.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Yeah, it was a really hard week for me with a lot of changes, and I worked really hard this week, and so now a second place after 2 runs. I'm really happy.
Well, congratulations, and Shelley, come on, you got to let us in. You won by 9/10 of a second. You know, come on, this is a sport. You usually win by 10 or 15 hundredths. What's going on?
Just everything came together today. I had a problem with 9 or training week, and I corrected that today, and start was good, and just everything came together. It was really good.
Obviously very good. Ladies, enjoy your Velton's beer. Congratulations.
And Anya Huber and Noelle Piker's pace are top 3 finishers here in Winterberg in Germany. And that's 4 different winners from the first 4 races of the year. Well, don't forget, there is more skeleton action coming up this afternoon with round 4 of the Wiesmann Men's World Cup. And bobsleigh continues throughout the weekend here at Winterberg. You can catch it all live. Until the next time, from everybody here, it's goodbye.